Hi everybody and welcome back to the channel today. For a change, I'm not going to talk about any politics. I'm not even going to talk about something which is happening in the UK. I'm going to actually talk about a story in America, which is the story of Erik and Lyle Menendez. Now, for those of you who don't know anything about Erik and Lyle Menendez, they are two people that got convicted approximately 30 years ago of a double murder of their parents. Now, in this particular case, it took 2 trials to actually convict them. Okay, because in the first trial, they were facing the possibility of first or second degree murder, manslaughter, or not guilty. And the jury, after quite a considerable length of time, couldn't make an agreement. You know, if you listen to any of the Netflix programs, you know, a lot of the jurors said that the men wanted first degree murder, the women wanted manslaughter. So couldn't come to an agreement. Case got dropped, and it had to go to a second trial. Okay, now obviously, when it came to the second trial, it's done slightly different. First degree murder or not guilty. And they ended up getting found guilty of first degree murder. And the judge sentenced them both to life in prison without the possibility of parole. Now, the sad thing about this story is, now it depends, you know, I say to people, it depends if you want to believe the defendants. And there's no reason to disbelieve them because it is a sad story of what got said. You know, both the lads, you know, they've said the entire time ever since their trial happened that they were abused by their father. You know, they were sexually abused but they were physically abused. You know, obviously, you know, their dad, you know, I can't say anything about him because obviously he's been dead for 30 years and he's not here to defend himself. But with everything that's been said by people that knew him, you know, even in the trials, you know, there was only ever one person that said anything nice about him. You know, I always like to say that there's at least something decent, but the only person that said anything nice about him was I believe it was his secretary. So, the reality is, one of the prosecutors in LA County has today said that he's going to recommend that they get resentenced. Now, in America, in recent years, there was actually a law brought in that said anybody under a certain age, okay, cannot face life without the possibility of parole. So they had to be resentenced. Now, obviously, I don't know why it's taken so long because I believe the oldest of the brothers at the time of the murder was he was about 21, 22, 23. I think he was in college at the time. Okay, and the other brother was about 18, 19. So they were both extremely young when it happened. Now, in America, because this is a double murder, okay, and they're going to redo the sentence, they would actually be facing still 50 years to life. But as the one of the prosecutors has said today, they were under 26, so they could face being released. Now, one of the things that I get worried about when they do these types of things, and obviously it's not going to affect me, you know, living in the UK, you know, this is the other side of the pond at the end of the day. This is America, you know. So a lot of people may say, why are you even talking about this? You're talking rubbish at the end of the day. Okay. But one of the concerns is obviously when it came to this case, at the time, you know, they never said a word about any of the sexual abuse. It never got leaked out. Nobody ever had concerns about them, about being abused. But when they came to trial, suddenly this all came out. Now, they may be telling the absolute truth, and for them, I am dearly sorry if they have actually gone through that, because that's not something I've actually ever gone through. But how sure are they actually that this actually did happen? Okay. And obviously, the two victims were unarmed. Neither one of them. I know both brothers, and they've said in interviews that they've done that they were fearing for their life. But when they came down, and they've openly admitted that they both went and bought the shotguns. So they weren't, guns that were just hanging around their house. They actually went and bought these shotguns. So, and obviously when it comes to the mum, and this is the one thing that I actually have the concern about, is one of the brothers, I can't remember which brother it was, I think it was the older brother, he actually said that he felt sorry for his mother and he felt he was doing the right thing by killing her, because at the end of the day, he felt that she wouldn't be able to live without their father. And to me, that's an act of thinking, and that's first degree murder. Some people may think that I'm wrong, and I hope for their sake, if they are going to get released, I hope for their sake, they can create a life for themselves. I really do, because they're in their 50s, they're only a few years older than myself, because I'm in my mid to late 40s now, so I hope that they can create a life for themselves, because they've spent the majority of their life in a prison cell in America. So they haven't really had much of a life. Yes, they had a privileged upbringing. They never really went, from what's been said, they've never really gone without wanting when they were kids and everything. So I do hope that they can create a life for themselves. So, if they are going to be released, I hope that does happen for them, because it'll be good for them. Whether they'll be able to cope on the outside after spending the best part of 30 years in jail. I've never been to jail myself, so I can't actually say how hard it would be. A lot of people say jail in America is a lot harder than it is here in the UK. So hopefully they have learned and they can get on with their lives. So for everybody, let me know what you do personally think. Should they actually be released, with what did happen, even though it was a long time ago? Do you think that they should be released? Should they actually still stay in jail? I know what a lot of people's feelings are on cases of murder. I know it's going to be a bit of a sore subject. There is an argument, a lot of this is being pushed forward because of the youth, because of so much being put on TikTok at the end of the day, and people feeling that they shouldn't be in jail for what they had alleged had happened to them as kids. So let us know what you think in the comments below. But for now, thanks for listening, and we'll speak to you again a bit later.